If you can lose roughly 2 pounds per week for a year, then that's over 100 pounds of weight loss in a year. And that's exactly what Marsha here did when she lost over 100 pounds in 12 months at the age of 60 while working a full-time job as an ICU coordinator. But Marsha isn't alone, and we've had many clients do this. So in this video, I'm going to walk through the very real requirements of what it takes to get these kinds of results and why most people don't. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what you need to do, and more importantly, what not to do to get results like Marsha here. So in this video, I'm going to go over a few things. I'm going to go over weight loss rate, the calorie deficit required to achieve that weight loss rate, and the consistency that's required for that. I'm going to go over the recommended daily activity goals. I'm going to go over ideal calorie and protein intake goals. I'm going to go over the massive importance of strength training and protein intake and how devastating that can be if you don't do that right. And I'm also going to talk about what it takes to build sustainability along the way. All right, so let's start off by talking about weight loss rate, the calorie deficit that you need to hit, and the amount of consistency that you need to hit in order to achieve this level of result, right? To lose 100 pounds in 12 months. So to lose 100 pounds in 12 months, we're going to have to target a weight loss rate of about 2 pounds per week consistently on average in order to lose 100 pounds in a year. From a calorie deficit perspective, what that's going to shake out to is roughly 1,000 calories per day of a calorie deficit, or 7,000 calories per week. And from a consistency standpoint, you're going to have to be very, very consistent in order to achieve that result. So you're going to have to hit at least 80% consistency in order to see consistent downward trending on your weight loss graph over time. In fact, if I look at all of our clients who have ever had this level of result, we can look at their daily step graphs, we can look at their execution on their strength training, we can look at their execution on their daily food intake, and without a doubt, across the board, the pattern that we see is that they are all being consistent at least 80% of the time. To lose 100 pounds in a year, I think we can all agree is an above average result. And to achieve an above average result, we have to be willing to put in above average consistency and above average execution. Otherwise, we're simply not going to be able to achieve above average results. Let's talk about recommended daily activity goals. Now, in Healthy and Whole, when we're working with clients like Marsha, we target a daily activity step goal of about 8,000 to 10,000 steps per day. And we strive to hit that as often as we can on a daily basis. But if not on a daily basis, we still strive to hit the weekly total. So let's say that your goal is 8,000 steps a day, which is my step goal personally. Well, then 8,000 steps a day equates to a weekly goal of 56,000 steps for the week. Even if you don't hit it every single day, as long as you can hit that step goal for the week, then you're still going to be good as long as your food intake for the week lines up with that. And again, when we're looking at results from someone like Marsha, we can pretty much see that. So I'll throw up a screenshot here of Marsha's step graph for her whole journey. I took this screenshot here recently, lined everything up, and you'll see that across the board for months and months and months, she was laser consistent in hitting that step goal, with the exception of only 2 or 3 different very short periods of time where she fell below that 8,000 to 10,000 daily step activity goal. And that was usually because there was something going on in her life at that point in time. Maybe work was crazy, maybe she was sick. At one point in time, her grandbaby was born. So there's a bunch of stuff going on. That's life. Stuff like that happens. But you can see how consistent she was throughout the long-term journey. And that was massive in her being able to achieve that level of result. I'm gonna throw up another screenshot here, and this is actually from the Pedometer Plus app. And this shows my steps for the last 7 days. And it's just a really good illustration of this at work. If you look at, I think it was like last Tuesday, I actually really missed the mark on my 8,000 step goal. I was only like at 4,000 some steps. And that was because my ankle's been giving me some fits and it was really swollen that day. And I just wanted to rest and let my ankle heal up a little bit that day. So I didn't walk my full 8,000 steps that day. day. The next few days I felt really great, and so I hit my step goal for the next several days. And so today is technically day 7 of this rolling 7-day average, and you can see down at the bottom of this screenshot, it shows on Monday, I'm currently at about 90% of my step goal for the last rolling 7 days. And my rolling weekly goal is 56,000 steps, 8,000 steps per day. So what that means is I can go into today knowing that, okay, because I had that low day and I factor in all my other days here, I'm at 90%, I'm at like roughly 50,000 steps for the last 7 days. If I just walked 5,200 steps today, I would be at my average for this 7-day rolling period. Now, I'll probably walk more than that. I'll still probably walk my 8 to 10,000 steps today because I want to stay ahead. I don't want to get behind. I don't want to do the bare minimum. I want to stay consistent. But I really recommend getting an app like Pedometer++, pairing that with a good fitness tracker, and paying attention to this data on a daily basis. Marsha paid attention to this data on a daily basis because she wanted consistent results. And if you want consistent results, you have to have a consistent calorie deficit. And a consistent calorie deficit means you are being active every day and you are controlling your food intake every single day. Now, let's dive into ideal calorie goals, protein intake, all that stuff, so we can talk about the food itself. Now, with all of our clients at Healthy and Whole, we typically will shoot for, or we find that we get best results with clients, whether they're male or female, at somewhere between 1,200 calories per day and 1,600 calories per day. Sometimes we will go above that. Sometimes we will have to go beneath that, although it's very rare that we have to go above or beneath that to get results for our clients. I would say 95% of our clients, male or female, do excellent in this range when they're getting food they enjoy, when they're being active every day, when they're getting enough protein intake so they feel full and satiated. So when we do all those things right, getting 1,200 to 1,600 calories a day allows us to get a nice deep calorie deficit combined with our activity so that results are exciting, the scale's moving, we have fewer fluctuations in the graph, all that stuff. So 1,200 to 1,600 calories per day, and we want 40% roughly of those calories coming from protein to make sure that we have enough protein to build and maintain muscle mass and we're feeling full and satiated throughout the day. Now, there's 2 ways that you can accomplish hitting this goal. One way that we have some clients use is to actually traditionally track calories and macros in an app like MyFitnessPal, where they literally just food diary log everything that they eat on a daily basis, and they just tweak it throughout the day to make sure that their daily food intake hits that 1,200 to 1,600 calorie range, and that they're hitting that 40% calorie goal of 40% of their calories coming from protein. Maybe 10% of our clients use that method. The majority of our clients use the second method, which is what we call the building block method, which is instead of logging everything that you're eating in an app like MyFitnessPal, we're teaching you how to just make sure that as you go throughout the day, when you eat a meal, that you just make sure that that meal, whether it's at home or in a restaurant, fits within a rough calorie goal of, say, 400 calories or less, and that when you have a protein-based snack, that protein-based snack is going to be 200 calories or less. And if you eat 3 meal snacks or 3 meal servings and 2 snack servings in a day, then that adds up to put you in that 1,200 to 1,600 calorie range. And that's how we use what we call the building block method to teach our clients how to essentially go throughout the day, hit ideal calorie and protein ranges without having to log everything in an app. Now, to be clear, both of these methods work and they work very well. Most of our clients choose to learn how to use the building block method because they don't want to count calories for everything they're eating every day, and especially not for the rest of their life. So the few clients that do choose to log everything they're eating in MyFitnessPal, most of them will eventually move to type number 2, which is the building block method, because they want to build in sustainability. But at the end of the day, what matters for us as coaches when we're working with our clients is we just want to make sure that we're getting you into that 1,200 to 1,600 calorie range. For our clients who are not tracking their calories every day in MyFitnessPal, we do a photo food log. We literally have the clients send us photos of everything they're eating or drinking on a daily basis so that we can put eyes on exactly what they're eating and make sure that we're hitting the mark for the protein and the calorie intake. Now, if we hit that daily step goal, 8,000 to 10,000 steps per day. If we hit that 1,200 to 1,600 calorie range and we get that 40% protein intake, those two things alone drive the majority of the fat loss results, the weekly weight loss rate. But that's not enough. And this is where a lot of people go very, very wrong, is they just stop there. They're walking more, they're eating the right food, their scale's going down, and they'll stop there. And listen to me when I say, if you stop there and you do not follow through with strength training, you are sabotaging your future results. And here's why. Strength training is so important, because if you are losing any significant amount of weight and you're not strength training, you are not sending your body the message that the muscle mass that it has already is really needed or necessary. And when you're in a calorie deficit, especially a 1,000 calorie per day deficit, you're walking, you're eating less food, your body will start to get rid of muscle mass in order to maintain homeostasis, right? And we don't want that, because our muscle mass is what drives our metabolism. If we lose muscle mass, we legitimately lose metabolism. And this is something that I see so often. There are so many women in particular, women in their midlife season of life, especially going into menopause, who are very frustrated and they feel like they have to either eat less than 1,000 calories a day or walk 15,000 plus steps a day in order to lose any weight. And sometimes that's their very real, unfortunate reality. And the way that happens for many of them is because they've gone through years or decades of repeated weight loss cycles where they dieted and they maybe walked or did cardio to lose weight, but they didn't ever do consistent strength training and they didn't ever consistently get enough protein intake. And so cycle after cycle after cycle, they're losing weight, but a lot of that weight was muscle mass. And over years of repeated loss of muscle mass, a lot of women in particular, some men, but a lot of women end up in a position where their body has very little muscle mass, but a lot of fat that they need to lose. And what this means is you have a very crippled low metabolism, and the only way to then make up for that low metabolism is to walk or just be really, really active, which is a tough situation to be in, but a lot of people are in that situation. So that's why I really cannot emphasize this enough. Please, please, please make sure that you are adding in strength training 2 to 3 times a week minimum. 3 is our gold standard. We shoot for 3 workouts a week, 30 to 45 minutes per workout, ideally in somewhere in the 10 to 15 reps per set range is what we shoot for with our clients. If you can do that, you're going to greatly minimize any muscle mass along the way, and that's going to drastically change how you look, feel, and function at your goal weight, and you'll have way higher metabolism when you get to your goal weight. You'll be able to eat more food to maintain. Trust me, you will not regret doing this, okay? Now, we've talked about daily step goals and being consistent there. We've talked about calorie and protein intake. We've talked about the massive importance of strength training and how to not cripple yourself with that. Next, let's talk about sustainability, because you do have to build sustainability in along the way. If you don't slow down and just give yourself the opportunity to build sustainability along the way, then none of everything that you've done matters. You could lose 50 pounds, lose 100 pounds, and if you didn't make it sustainable along the way, you're just going to gain all the weight back. And when you look at clients like Marsha, who lost 100 pounds, over 100 pounds in a 12-month period, and you look at her today and she's maintaining beautifully, even post-menopause and even working a full-time job, and now she has grandkids, all this stuff. She's doing that because along the way, she took the time and put in the effort to build sustainability into her lifestyle. And what that looks like is 4 core things. Number 1, you have to learn how to have healthy meals and snacks that you actually enjoy eating. Otherwise, you will get burnt out and you will go rogue and you will cheat and you will undo your progress. Number 2, you have to learn how to make all of that fit conveniently within the time that you have. Sometimes that's going to mean you're going to have to say no and hold boundaries with your time and create more time to make healthy food and meals and snacks. And other times what that's going to look like is you leaning into convenient foods that are also calorically and high protein, what they need to be for you to get the results. Sometimes you might be eating packaged foods. Sometimes you might be hitting up the drive-thru at Taco Bell, getting a chicken bowl because you know that's a healthy option when you're out. The point is, you have to have food you enjoy. You have to have food, or at least have a threshold of convenience so that you can do it even when you're busy. The third thing that you have to have is that you have to have enough variety so you're not getting burnt out eating the same things over and over again. And you have to have flexibility. You have to have a certain degree of flexibility, meaning that you know how to go on vacation and you know how to take a break from your diet for the holidays, and you know how to integrate things like alcohol. There's just a few more advanced skills that you just need to experience and learn about along the way so that you can do normal human life without your scale starting to trend up and up and up and up and up, okay? So wrapping all this together, again, we're targeting, if you have 100+ pounds to lose and you want to lose that relatively consistently at a fast rate in the course of a year, totally change your life, I just want you to know it's very doable. The thing it's going to take is you're going to have to lose roughly 1 to 2 pounds on average per week. That's going to mean a consistent calorie deficit of about 1,000 calories per day. You're going to have to be very consistent at 80%, right? You saw Marsha's graph, how consistently she was hitting that step goal. I'll throw up another screenshot here. This is Marsha's, just a screenshot of 1 month from Marsha's fitness tracking app that we use with her in the program. And you see all the blue dots on this graph, or on this calendar page, that show her workouts. You have to be very, very consistent with those things. And then you have to be laser consistent with your calorie and your protein intake so that you can ensure that with my activity and with my food intake, I'm in that consistent calorie deficit. And you've got to prioritize strength training 2 to 3 days a week so that you can maintain your muscle mass, and you've got to build sustainability in along the way. So I have no doubt that if you guys take this and you just take these baseline goals and you go after them, please understand, in the very, very beginning, when you start targeting your 8 to 10,000 steps per day and you start dialing in your food, eating healthier foods, eating healthier meals and snacks, you start strength training, just understand, it's not going to feel sustainable from day one. It probably is not going to feel sustainable in month 2 or month 3. For most people, you're going to build the lifestyle along the way, and it's going to start to feel sustainable probably somewhere between 6 and 12 months. So strap in, focus on hitting these benchmarks, hitting these goals, dialing in your food so that you can start seeing progress on the scale. And then as you go, just work on increasing the enjoyability, increasing your variety, and building in that sustainability. And I promise you, because it is just math, it's not magic, it's just math of hitting that consistent calorie deficit and then making it sustainable. I promise you, you'll be shocked at what you're able to accomplish in a year's time. Now, if you still feel a little bit overwhelmed by this, that's okay. That's why our clients do come to us at Healthy and Whole, to help them through this and coach them through this entire process. So if that's you, there are links down below where you can apply to investigate whether it'd be the right fit to coach with us. You can also sign up for my free newsletter down below. There's a few other free resources. There's a 7-day free 7-day Kickstart course down there. There's a A1C recovery course down there in the comments. There's a bunch of free resources that we give out all the time, and there's applications for coaching. Check those out. If this has been valuable for you, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.